What's up, guys? Welcome back. It's been a little bit of a break here as this international break where, all of our different players have been playing different countries, England, France, all these different places. It feels like it's been a very long time, but we're back. We're back and we're playing a game this Thursday against Tottenham Hotspur. So should be a good one, little London rivalry, little London derby to get us going. And before we do that, I just want to kind of remind us today what we're going to be doing. We're going to be doing a lineup builder on FIFA 25, on FC 25. We're going to be looking at that together, building it together, seeing kind of what I would prefer to happen, something that could be possible, what I would prefer lineup-wise, and then we'll be simming it together on career mode, seeing what goes on. But before we do any of that, I want to hop over to the EPL table and take a look at what's this matchup look like, what can we expect possibly, and kind of match up our expectations versus what the sim gets, kind of as we prepare for this game ahead. So let's go ahead and hop over to the table. All right, guys, so here we are. I'm just on the Premier League website looking at the current table of current form, which of course hasn't changed since we last were seeing some games because there haven't been any since the international break. But currently Chelsea sitting in 4th place on 49 points, obviously coming off that kind of abysmal loss to Arsenal. It's weird because I actually didn't get to watch the game. We only lost 1-0, but it was, from everything I hear and from following up with all these different content creators I watch, just a completely heartless performance. So not a good way to end the break. However, I do have some hope coming for these last, handful of matches that we have coming up because we have so many players coming back. From my understanding in training, we have Romeo Lavia back, we have Nani Madueke back, we have Nicholas Jackson back. Obviously, Wesley Fofana has been back. Reece James has had an amazing international break, playing tremendous football. So I think there are a lot of things that look hopeful for us. Of course, we'll see. Chelsea, this kind of latter half of the season, have been pretty underwhelming, but I do have hope. And I think ultimately, I know some people are like, oh, I'm tired of getting hope with Chelsea. We've been so disappointing the last, couple years, really. And this second half of the season's been super disappointing. But I'm the kind of guy where I'm going to say, if you're not looking for positives, why are you trying to enjoy it anyway? So I think we have a chance of having a good run of form here at the end. So you see we're here in 4th. We have 2 losses and 2 wins and 1 loss. So 3 losses and 2 wins in the last 5 games. So not great form. But if you scroll all the way down here, take note of my verbiage there, all the way down here to 14th, that's where we find Tottenham. They're on similar form than us, somewhat better. 2 wins, 2 losses, and 1 draw. Although their form, they haven't won in the last 3 matches, which is, of course, different than us, who have 2 wins in our last 3. They lost 2-0 to Fulham. They drew to Bournemouth, which is a fine result. And then they lost to Man City. So none of those are, I would say, terrible performances. The one against Fulham is not great, but Fulham is, we all know, a very respectable team. So that's what we're looking at there. In my personal opinion, I think that this is going to probably be a game where it's going to be, if you know this term, like a little bit like a basketball game, where I think it goes back and forth. I feel like that tends to happen with Tottenham. The players come up for it. They like playing against this, in this London derby. I think there's a lot of energy normally, and also Ange is a manager who's been on the hot seat the entire season, so his guys are going to be going for it, and you would hope our guys are going to be going for it, especially those that have been out for a couple months now that they're getting back in the lineups. And based off of that, that's actually a little bit of a hint towards some of my opinions about who our lineups are going to be oriented to. So as we prepare to do that, I'm going to be hopping over, like I said, to FC 25, which is what we've been doing lately in our season simulation. So we're going to do that again. So basically what we do here is we hop onto FC 25, onto the manager career mode, and we did the live start a while ago. And what we basically do from there is we just sim the game. We sim it all and see where we're going from there, and see if we can get an accurate result, see if our predicted lineup is a good one to play against the team we're playing against, and see what the result goes like on here versus what, in a couple days we'll see actually happens in real life on Thursday against Tottenham. So if you see here, this is just the home screen. We're going to hop into match day and start building this team. So let's do this real fast too. This doesn't really matter, but I always like doing this sort of thing. For some reason, it doesn't have our 3rd kit. I don't really know why that is. We'll wear our blues. We'll make them wear their normal away kit. And then we're going to hop over here. I think we're simming on legendary. Hop into team management. So here's the first thing I want to do before we build a lineup. If you look at this bench here with all these players, we got a Mugu, we got 2 goalkeepers, including our morale captain Bettinelli. We have Anselmino, who hasn't appeared as far as I know. Like I said, we have a lot of youth with Achimpong, George, Amugu, all these guys. Some of them I'm very excited for, but this bench is a thing about how extensive our bench was in the first part of the season, right, where we had so many players, quote unquote. And now look at the bench. But the good news is we do have players returning. And for some reason on the game, a lot of these players still have bandages, which doesn't mean you can play them. Just means they're at higher risk to get injured. So hopefully that won't happen, because that would ruin a lot of our future sims. But let's go ahead and bring those guys that are returning back to the lineup. So we know Jackson's been training since the international break. We know that Lavia has also been training. We know that Nani's been training. So I'm going to bring them all in the lineup. I'm not necessarily going to start all of them, but I'm not making any promises either, because like I said, this is a somewhat realistic lineup that we're going to be building, but it's also just a lineup that I prefer and that I think I'd like to see against in a game like this with Tottenham, because I know Tottenham is in a terrible place in the table, similar to Man United. However, we still, as a team, the last handful of years have immensely struggled with getting results against the bigger name clubs. So I think we really need to get a win here. So I'm going to keep the formation the same here, with kind of this 4-2 deep lying midfielders, and then the 3-1 with kind of these. They're more wingers than they are left mid here, but we're still going to play with this formation, the 4-2-3-1. And we're going to start with the back line first and foremost. We're going to start with Robert Sanchez. Bottom line, guys, we don't need to go over the same story that we hear all the time, right? Our goalkeeping situation is not solid this year at all. I think we've loaned out our best goalkeeper in Petrovic, and we're having to kind of deal with that mistake for the rest of this season. This is my opinion. I know some of you might really disagree with me in this, and if that's the case, leave it in the comments. Let's talk about it, please. I do not think Jorgensen is that much better than Sanchez. And again, he has room to grow. I'm aware he's younger. He has a ceiling. He played pretty well I think he came from Villarreal. But he doesn't jump off the screen to me in these games that he's played as like, oh, he is markedly better than Rob Sanchez. I think Robert Sanchez is probably a better shot stopper in my opinion. He has a bigger frame. I think he has more ability to stop really difficult shots. Sometimes he doesn't stop the easy ones. But I think we've seen Jorgensen make plenty of mistakes as well in the brief appearances he has had, and that's because I'm not huge on him. I don't rate him very highly. And the thing is, and I heard one of I don't know if it was Yannick or not, another Chelsea content creator, go check him out at Football Therapy. I don't know if it was him or somebody else, but talking about how it's so bad to chop and change goalkeeper over and over again, and we've been doing that nonstop. And I don't think it's good to keep doing that. So I think we kind of should just probably count our losses and keep Rob playing. That's just my opinion. Feel free to disagree with me on it. And let's start from the right and go to the left. So I think Mallow, love Mallow. I'm a huge Mallow fan. However, I think when you have a healthy, in-form Reece James, he starts over any right back in the world, I would say. When he's healthy, when he's in form and doing his thing, I don't think there's any right back that should start ahead of him. I know Enzo kind of apparently views him as a midfielder, but I think there's only so long that you can avoid putting him in the position he actually belongs in. So we're going to put him there. We're going to leave the center back pairing unchanged. We're going to keep Colwill and Fofana together. That I still think is the center back pairing for the future. I'd like to get somebody to challenge them in the summer, but I do think this is, for now, our best pairing. And as far as I know, they're both healthy too. And then Cucurella, love the guy. If you don't love him, I don't know who you do love on the team, because he is somebody that brings passion every game. He's somebody that brings 110% effort every game, not to mention quality. I think he, as well as probably, in my opinion, the only other player I would consider in contention for player of the year this season, and I love Cole, and I'm not saying he's a bad season, but in my opinion, the only other player is Moises Caicedo. And I think Cucurella and Moises have been so utterly consistent this year. He's one of the first names on the sheet. So that's our back line. We minimal changes. We basically just took out Malo Gusto and put in Reece James. And then moving up to the midfield, these two players are going to stay in the game, but they're not going to stay where they are. So So stick with me. You're going to follow what I'm going to do eventually. We're going to actually put Enzo kind of slotted up. He's not playing as a 10. He's kind of playing more a little bit as an advanced 8, getting into the box, arriving in the box. He's been doing that the last several weeks, getting some extra goals as well. But he will be a little bit more advanced than we've seen recently. And the reason for that is because next to Caicedo, I am going to throw in Lavia. So apparently we just figured this out together, guys. It does not want to let us put him in, so I guess they don't view him as ready to go. So we're gonna scratch what we just decided, which is weird because I was actually testing this earlier and it was allowing for those players to come in. But that again would be my preferred lineup if you had Enzo in this kind of advanced position and then Romeo Lavia next to Caicedo, because I do think he's fit as far as I know. But since they won't allow us to do that in the sim, let's just bring Enzo back and put Cole back into his 10 position. And that does change things up a little bit for me. I was going to start 2 of the 3 returning players. I was going to start Lavia and Jackson. But since that's not the case, what we're going to go ahead and do is we're going to put Neto on the left. And we're going to put Sancho on the bench. And not because I think he's totally out of the door or anything like that, but I think that either Madueke, who again, they're not going to let us play, or somebody else I'd like to see some more of. I think Tyreek George has been one of our most exciting wingers. He hasn't, of course, produced a lot, but he also hasn't got that many minutes. I mean, he's a youth player. He's, 17, 18? And I think he's so direct. I think he's very confident in himself. And I want to see him get a full 90. I don't want to see him get another cameo. I think he's ready for a full 90. So we're going to throw him in. And then real quick, this will be interesting. I don't know if it'll let us put Jackson in. It will not. Okay, good to know. So this is the issue, right? In real life, I'm starting Jackson 110% because I think Nkunku is a waste of time at striker. I can't explain to you how much I think he's a waste of time. However, I don't really like any of the other options we have either. I think Neto there is a little bit better. I think he works harder, and I think you need a little bit more pressing from that guy on the back line in order to make some mistakes happen. So I'm going to put Neto up there, and we're going to slot down Nkunku to the left, where I think he's been okay at times. I don't think he's been great at any point there or anywhere, if I'm being honest. So, you know, we're doing this live because those bandaged players not being able to get put a wrench in the machine. So we're actually going to put Sancho back in the pitch. And the reason for this, again, is because I am tired of I just don't see where Nkunku fits in this equation. I'm not saying he's a bad guy. I'm not saying he hasn't been trying. I think any good professional, I haven't heard he isn't a good professional, works their hardest. But I just don't think it's working. And I'd like to give these guys a run of form because I don't think, no matter their form with Sancho or Neto, I don't think there's ever been really a question of their effort. So that's our lineup. We got Rob in the back, quote unquote, holding down the fort, and then the back four we got Reese, Wes, Levi, and Mark, and then in the middle we have Moises and Enzo. In the 10 position, we have Cole Palmer. On the left, Jadon Sancho, hopefully getting his chalk on his boots and being effective in the final third, making that good last pass. Being a little more direct. I like to see him take some more shots. And then Tyreek getting a full 90-minute cameo in a real Premier League game, not a Conference League game. And then up top, I would have Nico, and I think in the real game we will have Nico, but in this simulation it won't let us have him there. So we have Neto starting. So that's our lineup. Now we're going to back out, and we're going to jump up here to quick sim. So this is going to go straight to results. So let's see what we get. We'll look at the goal scorers. We'll look a little bit at their ratings, and then we'll go from there. All right, so let's hop in. And what a terrible result. Oh, I think I would be in for a very dim weekend if we went in Thursday afternoon, Thursday night, losing 3-1 to Spurs. Oh my goodness. Okay, 4 shots to us to their 5. What a terrible game this sounds like. Okay, so their scorers were, wait a minute, Dom Solanke with 3 goals. I think he only has 7 on the year. What a game that would be for him. Cole finally gets off the pot and decides to play football again and gets a goal. I guess that's at least a positive. Let's see who our worst performers were. And look who our worst performers were. Rob Sanchez, no surprise there. Real huge surprise if you look at, we're looking on the left side of the screen. Moises with a 4.9 showing. That doesn't feel realistic. Sancho with a terrible showing as well. Did anybody come off the bench and make any positive influence? Nope. No positive effects from the bench. Okay, I don't know if it shows that. They probably have to play for long enough, I guess, and most of them didn't, I suppose. Or it shows the subs there, and it was only people in the back line. So not a huge fan of the computer coaching there. But bottom line, not a good performance, guys. Terrible performance, actually. Hopefully we do better than that in real life. Let's hop back over and finish this up. Okay, guys. Well, that was our sim for the day. A terrible result. 3-1 loss to Spurs. I'm really surprised by how poorly that went. Again, I don't think that's what's going to happen in real life. I desperately hope that's not what happens in real life. I don't think it will be. I think we will perform better. I'm not guaranteeing a win, but we need a win. So I'm going to go out on a limb and say I think we're going to get a 2-1 victory. I think we never keep clean sheets, which I talk about frequently, so I'm not expecting a clean sheet. And Spurs can score some goals, but I do think with some of the guys we have coming back, I think we can get back on the score sheet. I do think we'll get a goal from Cole, and I think we'll get a goal from Enzo. So that's my prediction. I think we're going to win 2-1. In the sim, we lost 3-1. Hopefully it'll be better than that. But thank you guys for tuning into Blues Nation. Make sure to comment down below your score predictions for this game on Thursday against Tottenham, and let's see how we do. Catch you next time.